Welcome back to Dice at Dusk. In this episode, you're going to find out if I backed Hate by CoolMiniOrNot. Hate is a 2 to 4 player game that will be expandable to 6. It's based on the graphic novel Chronicles of Hate, and it's set in this post-apocalyptic world where tribes are fighting and scavenging the earth to just gain hate and resources. In this game, you're going to be controlling territories, but the territories, or the territory control aspect of this game is a small sliver. That's because you start out and you see like this, it's a smaller, but just a map of the world. And you're going to be invading all these different territories. And when you go in, when you invade another character's territory, it's almost like you're zooming in on a battlefield. Because then you're going to set up another board. And this other board is going to be a scenario based, depending on who's attacking and who's defending. And you're just going to be battling over that territory. And you're going to be just slaughtering your enemies. And you're going to be scavenging these villages and just murdering innocents just to gain hate and resources. The other way to gain hate and resources is when you don't kill your enemies in this. What you do is you knock them down and then you drag them. So you're knocking all these enemies down, and at the end of the match, you're gonna drag all these enemies back to your village. And then you're going to do one of two things. You're going to either cook and eat them and you're going to gain resources, or you're just going to torture them in the torture pit. And this is how you gain hate. Now, hate and resources is how you score, other than the victory points that are on the map at the beginning, on the area control map. You're going to be gaining these resources and this hate. And the way that the endgame scoring works is it's the least amount of your hate or resources. So whatever you have for hate and whatever you have for resources, it's going to be the lesser of the two, plus the amount of victory points that you had from that area control part of this game. And that's how you're going to win or lose this game. And it's vicious. And if you went to their Kickstarter, I highly recommend going to the Kickstarter page right now and just watching the video, because the instant that you watch it, your jaw will just drop because of it's just gory and definitely it's gory. So go watch that, and definitely if you're less than 18, don't watch it. But that's how you're going to win this game. And battles and stuff like that, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory how it works. You have dice that you're going to be doing, and you're going to be using these dice, and that's how you're going to do combat. You're also going to gain Savagery Tokens. Now, Savagery Tokens, these are really how you do things. So you have tribe cards, for instance. They're unique to each individual tribe, and these will give you those special abilities. And you're going to use these Savagery Tokens to use them, or you're going to use them to move your character, and you're just going to use them to take actions. Now, you're going to start the turns with 5, and you just keep getting them, but you can gain more, and I'll talk about that with these dice rolls. So these dice rolls are how you're going to do combat. So if somebody comes in and attacks somebody, they're going to roll these dice depending on what that character can roll. And then it's either swords, shields, the savagery symbols, and then a wild symbol. So you want swords if you're attacking, you want shields if you're defending. A wild will allow you to turn that to any side, and the savagery tokens allow you to gain more tokens. And then you're just going to go until whichever objective or whichever team completes their objectives. So when you start these battles, you're going to have different objectives. The defending team's going to have an objective, and the attacking team's going to have an objective. And when you complete that, the first person to complete that, and that's when that scenario would end. And then that's when you would go back to your village and you would do all these things like torture your enemies or eat them. And that's really just the general overview of how this game is played. But did I back it? The game is beautiful. So cool. It's CoolMiniOrNot. CoolMiniOrNot is known for their minis. Their minis in this game especially are just phenomenal. They're detailed and great. Like, you really look at it and get see like a Mad Max type universe, and they are just phenomenal. Along with that, the artwork is beautiful, and it's gory, but it is beautiful and very well done. The way that you gain and fight, or the way that you fight, is, I like streamlined fighting process. I like when it's easy. There's no real hard like calculations when fighting, and I like that. So I definitely like the way that this works, and I also like how the area control part of this game is so small, and then it's like you zoom into the battlefield, and instead of seeing like in a game like Risk where you're doing you move a few armies around and you're rolling a few dice and then you just move into that territory. It's like you're doing that, but you're zooming in and seeing an actual battlefield, which is pretty cool. Now, with all that being said, the game is beautiful. It looks like it would be pretty fun to play. And with that being said, I did not back it. And there's two reasons, one's a little bigger than the other. But one reason is the way that you gain these Savagery tokens. And I didn't really like that. You start with 5 and you can move your armies around, your characters around with these tokens, but you can kind of randomly gain more. So, some players can have more than others depending on a dice roll. So somebody may have more chances than somebody else because of a dice roll. And I don't like that. But on the flip side of that, I kind of do. Only because, let's say if you go in and you're attacking, and say the guy that was attacking you rolled 3 shields, or three swords rather, and you rolled 1 shield, and you say you had 2 dice you were rolling for defending, there's no way you're gonna win. But if you had a wild or a savagery token, you're kind of gaining something even though you lost. And I do like that. But as for overall, I don't really like the fact that you can just randomly get, somebody can have so many more actions than somebody else just because of this dice roll. But that is pretty minor. The major reason that I did not back this is the player count itself. So they say 2 to 4, and then it'll be expandable to 6, but it's 1v1, so it's just 1 versus 1, and that's what's going to be played. So when say you had a 4-person game, then one team would be playing while the other 2 are sitting out. However, it did just reach a point where they're giving you an extra board in case of that. And so there could be 2 battles going on at the same time, which is pretty cool. And I do think that would look pretty cool. But as for 6, if it's expandable to 6, you still have that issue. And odd player counts. If you're playing with 3 or 5 players, you're always going to have somebody just sitting out for 45 minutes to an hour. And that's terrible. I would never want to play a game where most of the time I'm going to be like sitting on the couch watching TV. And I just don't think that's a good game night. But that's definitely not taking from the game. It's just why I didn't back it. That's the biggest reason why I didn't back it. And like I said, the miniatures, and I would buy the miniatures just to have them on the shelf because they are pretty sweet. But that's really, again, that's why I didn't back it, was this player count, and that's it. So tell me if you backed it in the comments below, and tell me if you agree with me, disagree with me, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whichever you want to do. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that happy stuff. But until next time, play more games.